Hello, my name is David Alexander Lawler, and today my partner Caleb Polk and I will be discussing PEPY Tours, which is the social enterprise that guided our University of North Florida social innovation class around the beautiful country of Cambodia, but in a unique and inventive way which we feel is worth examining. So what makes PEPY Tours any different from other tour companies? Well, the difference is in their intention. PEPY's objective is all about learning. This is learning how to be more responsible in their donor activity, how to be a more responsible traveler, how to be a real global citizen, but most importantly, how to enact changes that they want to see in the world. It is also worth noting that they design their tours with input from local communities and to putting their needs first rather than the needs of the tourists. Thus, when the tourists come to their country, they're not just sightseeing, they're actually helping the communities at the same time. There are other groups that also engage in service activity, but they'll get the tourists to do the hard labor themselves, and it'll make the tourists feel good that they're helping out, but PEPY feels that this is simply instating a way of life or changing something that the tourists feel is a better way of life instead of actually asking the locals. So instead, they ask the tourists to donate instead of actually doing the work themselves, which may not be as helpful as it seems in the end.
Hi, I'm Caleb Polk. So as David was saying, PEPY believes that simply going in as tourists and completing some project is not as beneficial as it might seem. PEPY was actually founded after first-hand experience of this fact. The first project that the founders of PEPY undertook was to help build a new school in Cambodia designed to support over 500 students. When they visited the school a while after it was completed, they found only a handful of teachers and very few students. They realized that simply swooping in and trying to fix a problem doesn't work. You have to invest in the local people. This is why tourists are asked to donate instead of conducting service themselves. While it may not feel as fulfilling, the money enables the local populace to address their own problems, which helps ensure that the solutions are culturally and socially sensitive, as well as providing a sense of empowerment instead of the belittling dependence that people may feel from relying on foreigners to do the work and solve their problems. This realization that PEPY has had has made us reevaluate how we view charity and service. We'll no longer just simply just donate to any organization that claims to be doing good work, or simply go and participate in service projects designed by outsiders who don't understand the problems they're facing. Instead, we've been inspired to be judicious and educated in our donations and service to make sure that the change we are enacting is both effective and culturally appropriate.
So PEPY is actually broken down into both an NGO system and a social enterprise system. The social enterprise system is the tours, which make most of the funds so that the NGO portion can be self-sustainable. And by the way, the NGO portion is all about teaching Cambodian students about being a global citizen. They train them with presentation skills and expose them to different technologies and things of that sort. But anyhow, any money that's not going to the NGO, their PEPY NGO, is going toward the communities that the tours visit. For instance, our tour around Cambodia was focused on social enterprises, and so most of the money that we paid for the trip, they would actually donate to any social enterprise that we visited. And this is really cool because we were also learning about the social enterprises at the same time. So we were learning, supporting the locals, and having a really fun time all at once. I feel like this is a prime example of social innovation.
I agree. PEPY provides education, service opportunity, and fun all at the same time. Now, David will mention later that many of the social enterprises we visited had trouble expanding and sustaining themselves, but PEPY doesn't. One of the main reasons for their success is their business approach. As a tour company, PEPY is built on a pre-existing industry. Tour companies are, after all, already a thing. It's not a new concept. So instead of devoting resources to building an infrastructure and figuring out how to attract clients and other problems they would normally face, PEPY was able to bypass some of that and to move on to the important part, which is their impact, actually solving social problems.
I found PEPY Tours to be quite an amazing organization. I've traveled before, but I've never had an experience quite like the experience at PEPY's. I actually felt like I was building upon something and I was really learning instead of just sightseeing. We actually visited the PEPY NGO Empowering Youth as well, and we got to meet a lot of Cambodian students, and I made a good friend who I am still in contact now named Fala Toem. Not only was it really cool and fun to experience, but in terms of running the social enterprise itself, in comparison to some of the other social enterprises we'd visited that had sort of plateaued, uh, PEPY tours are actually expanding and, and they're still self-sustaining, which is amazing. They get donations, but they don't rely on them like a lot of the social enterprises do. In terms of expansion, I really think they're on the right track. The only thing that I could see happening is going to more countries. They're already in Nepal, but I could see them going around the entire Southeast Asian uh, peninsula, and maybe even one day they'll get big enough to be a quite a large and notable organization, which would be wonderful because they really have their objectives and intentions right. They're putting their money in the right places, and I think they're a really great organization.
They just really are. Like David mentioned, we got to visit the NGO part of PEPY that the social enterprise supports, and it was absolutely amazing. I had the opportunity to interact with a student named Sokpit, and I was blown away seeing how excited and joyful she and the other students were to be receiving college education and career advice. Now, Sokpit told me that she was the first in her family to go to a university. Most of her older siblings had dropped out of high school and gone to work legally in Thailand. Now, the sad part is that her story is in no way unique. Many of the other students had similar stories. But the point is that we saw just how effective PEPY is. It's not just that they've come up with a new philosophy on tourism and social enterprise, they're actually putting it into practice. And they're having a huge, huge impact on real people's real problems. Now, David said that PEPY has the potential to become a global organization, and I think he's right. Like I was saying earlier, PEPY's success is due, in a large part, to being a tour company and relying on the pre-existing infrastructure. For the same reasons, I think that PEPY is uniquely positioned to transfer easily into different cultures and countries. As long as the people at PEPY continue to rely on local input and focus on enabling communities to address their own problems, PEPY will not only be a successful business, but it will be enacting lasting, positive change in the world and promoting both the empowerment of those less fortunate and the development of an equal global community. Alright, well that concludes our presentation. Thank you everybody for coming and watching and listening. We hope that you learned something and that you're inspired to be more educated and effective in your own charity and service activities. I'll put links on the screen here to go to both the PEPY tours and the PEPY Empowering Youth websites. So if you want to go check them out, support them, donate, you can do that. But on behalf of David and I, thank you so much for coming. We hope you enjoyed.